Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me. The epoxy, first try at epoxy. You can see already there are some huge cracks. They're like empty cracks because there's lots of bubbles. There was some issues with the sealing that I did under the bottom of this. Not the biggest problem. I will be able to refill these cracks when I do another level of epoxy. I gotta grind off this top layer anyway, and obviously I need to refill some of this stuff over here, especially because it sunk through and actually filled up the hole on the bottom. So I don't have to do over here on the bottom at least, but there is another hole somewhere over here that I have to take care of. But anyway, I don't have like a routing jig, so I'll probably just end up using an angle grinder with some sanding grit to do the job, and then redo the epoxy. But right now, I'm over at my buffing wheel. I've got the metal bars. I've already done a couple of them, polished them up, so I can save my flap discs for my grinding. I'm using this guy to polish up these, and I think I have like one more to do, but I'll polish up these, then I'll weld the nuts to them, and I'll glue them, and those should be it for the metal. And then I can get my legs together. I'm gonna route these corners probably so they're nice and smooth and rounded over so they look really nice, but a few more things to do. Let's get to it. Okie doke. So I'm gonna start working on the shelf here. I'm gonna get it glued up. I got my dowel jig here. Drill a couple of holes on either side of these guys. Stick some of these wood boys in there, glue them up, and I should get these guys stuck together, and then I can cut it to the right size. The holes kind of line up. They're pretty close. That's all I really need. I had to re-drill these ones because they were clearly not, because this thing doesn't drill the whole center. It drills the hole slightly over to one side, so I have to like switch it around on either side. Whatever, let's just glue it. What a travesty. This whole thing was bowing a second ago. Holes were barely lined up. They wouldn't even touch each other no matter how hard I clamped them, but I got this heavy ass bag of black aluminum oxide weighing it down on this flat piece. I got it clamped to the table. Hopefully this glues flat and straight. We shall see. All right, let's get our angle grinder and just grind some of this stuff. Got my respirator here so that I don't breathe in epoxy dust. That would be amazing.
Let's get right to it.
The grinder is doing a great job of taking off this epoxy. It's actually like completely removed the surface. It hasn't scratched up the wood too much either, which I'm really happy about. I'm gonna keep grinding on this guy because I got a little bit more to do on the backside on the ends here, but okay, I got this all smoothed out. I got this all smoothed out. It's looking good. Let's keep going.
Let me just say, of my many reviews that I'll probably do on tools in the future, because I'm realizing I have a lot of issues with lots of tools. Going to school for design gives you kind of a picky disposition, but don't ever paint your seal on the front of the f***ing glasses, because this ruins like 25% of my vision. Why would I ever want to wear your safety goggles if I can't see through a quarter of it? It literally blocks my vision. What a dumb design. I got my bars polished up and everything. I did a test. You can weld these nickel coated bolts to the metal, so I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna do a couple of tacks underneath on the side. I'll probably only do 2, maybe 4 if I really need to. I just need to be able to hold these in place, so these can be the anchors that will keep these guys stuck once you tighten the outside bolts. So let me get right to it. I got some cardboard here just to protect the wood. I haven't sanded these fully anyway, so it won't really matter if I get some sparks on there, because I gotta sand them and do some routing to them before they are finished. Anyway, I'm just gonna give it a shot and see what happens. Got it all glued up. It ended up being pretty straight. I'm really happy about that. I'm gonna sand down these surfaces so that they're all pretty even, because they are off a little bit. But I'm actually gonna use my angle grinder for this because I don't have a planer wide enough that I can plane these, so I'll just grind them down. These work pretty well.
Very nice.
All right, folks, I want to get some angles on these, a nice chamfer on these edges. I was going to use a round routing bit, but I don't have any. But I do have this regular 45. Whoop, go around this corner, go around all the corners, do both sides of all these legs, and then I'll sand these up, and these legs are pretty much done. Not bad. I was thoroughly unprepared for how much dust was going to get in my mouth. Do a little file work on these corners. I don't want to mess this up by going a little too hard, but this is a nice line. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So let's do the rest of it. I'm going to put my mask on because otherwise I'm going to die. There you are, some nice chamfers on there. I'm pretty happy with that actually. That router bit's doing a good job. Girls, you know what this is. This is my favorite part. We're gonna blue the crap out of this metal. I got my bluing solution is right over here, hidden inside my new box. Let's just blue it up. What do you say? All right, here's my metal ready to be blued. I got my rust inhibitor. It's a beautiful day. Let's get to it. Time for some oil.
Big booty, but you got a big booty. Big booty, but you got a big booty. Go to work.
I want to use something a little more durable. So going with the oil based on this guy. Ready to polyurethane my legs. Epoxy this table one last time. I scraped off all the old stuff. I got to fill in stuff on the top here. A couple of spots over here. And this crack, obviously, that kind of sunk through when I did the first one. Smooth it all out, sand it out, polyurethane this guy too. But we're almost done. Let's get the legs epoxied up while we're waiting, and the shelf. See, put little sealants of hot glue around like a U shape, catch all the excess. Hopefully nothing will seep out. I got Packer's tape on all these pieces of foam board. For that little crack in there, that little crack in there, this big crack. Let's mix this epoxy and get her done. See how she's looking. Epoxy's still gonna dry out on top, grind it off tomorrow. The shelf is affixed. I'm gonna glue those bracket pieces once I disassemble. But there you go, there's a shelf. Just gotta finish the tabletop. Okay folks, we're on the home stretch here. I have the legs all polyurethaned up. I've got all the metal blued and sprayed with the protectant. I have a little bit more sanding to do, obviously. I'll also polish up the epoxy once it's done so I can get it as clear as possible. I want it to look like glass. But I marked out where because I'm trying to figure out how to attach the top to the base, figure out what I was gonna do. I have just these little offcuts from the metal bars that I used, right? Similar thing like I did with the railroad spike. I will drill and tap those holes. I will screw these into these holes, epoxy them with the 5-minute epoxy, not the 72-hour curing epoxy. Then I will drill these holes so that the metal that's sticking out at the bottom of the tabletop, 1, 2, and 3, will sit in these holes. And then from the back side here, I'm gonna take my drill and I'm gonna just drill a pilot hole that should cut straight through, and then I can get a screw in the back of here, so I'll have a screw that I can drill through here that will lock these in place. This corner of the table, this is where the edge of the foot matches up with the table, and I mean that's gonna be clear and nice, and I thought, you know, it would be kind of cool if it looked like it was floating, because when I flip it over, it will be surface to surface with that, and you'll be able to see it from the front, looking down on the tabletop, and you'll be able to see that it's just flat, so it'll look like it's all just floating on there. There we go. Okay. Whew. The holes are kind of tight. This one of the spokes is on like a little bit of an angle, so I will remedy that when I screwed it permanently before I do the epoxy. But I think I'm gonna re-sand the bottom of this. In a few spots you can see some grinder marks. It's the bottom. I know it doesn't really matter that much, but I like to be perfect, so I'm all sanded anyway. Yeah, okay. So I had a thought while I was waiting for the epoxy on the metal bits to dry. I should put some arrows on the surfaces you won't ever see so that you know which sides are supposed to go in. Because unfortunately, with the inaccuracies with my saws and my holes throughout the project, there's a certain way that the legs fit together the best, and this is the way that fits together the best. So I'm just going to carve a little arrow pointing this way, show that this is going in, this is going in, and that's going in. I already did the other ones, so check my chiseling skills. Here. So if ever you need to disassemble this, you know which way it is going in on the 3 other corners that you will see. Cool. So that works for all 3. Okay, so I got it all scraped last night. I've got it sanded down to 2000 grit. I am just trying to polish up this epoxy so you can see through a little more clearly, but it's all nice and smooth. Tabletop is like mostly finished. I gotta put the oil on, I gotta poly it, and I gotta wax it and attach it to the base, and I gotta wax the legs. That's pretty much it. We're almost done. Mmm. 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 Wow. Mmm. God damn, it looks good. God damn. I realized you couldn't really see it in the angle of that video, but this is what it looks like when it's all oiled up. Mmm. Look at that. It is turning this slightly yellow. The epoxy that I got says it's specifically designed to never turn yellow, so that's pretty cool. I mean, the oil I'm using is yellow, so like I said, I'll wipe this surface off, make it nice and clean. But hopefully it won't. But yeah, very nice looking tabletop. Very nice looking legs. Oh yeah. All right, folks, that'll pretty much do it. That's this coffee table installed, put together. The legs are solid, screwed in place. The shelf fits nice, doesn't slide or anything like that. The epoxy turned out decently well. You can still read my name and everything. It's not as polished as it could be, but that's because I put the polyurethane over the top. Nice and waxed, nice and smooth. This guy is great. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Wood's beautiful. Metalwork turned out pretty good. There you go. That's the coffee table. Once again, thank you guys for joining me. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, share with a friend, and we'll see you in the next one.